Hi everyone, so just a few quick notes before I get started on this super easy zombie tutorial. Here are some items that I use in this video. So it's a palette of watercolor paints, some Pritstick glue and some regular toilet tissue. Now as for the glue, I use this on my face instead of latex. If you have super sensitive skin, I would test this out first before going ahead and doing this whole look. For me, I have sensitive skin and it didn't bother me. I just made sure to dissolve it with coconut oil when I was taking it off. And here's some water for the watercolor paints. So pushing my hair back out of the way with this hideous hairband, I went ahead and started putting the glue alongside my mouth because I'm going to do that exposed teeth and gum look at the side there. So I just patted this on with my finger, and once you wet your fingers the glue will come off anyway, so don't worry about that. And then I went ahead and put some little shredded pieces of tissue all over that glue. It doesn't have to be neat at all. In fact, the messier the better. It's supposed to look like torn flesh, so it doesn't need to be exactly perfect. Then I just kind of made a little space beside my mouth where my teeth and my gums will go up on one side. And then I went in with the Rimmel Match Perfection lightest shade of this foundation to just put all over my face to start as a canvas, because I find the colours come out better then, and also to blend the tissue into the face so it looks more like flesh. Then I'm going to do another little flesh wound up by the top of my hairline. So I'm just going to do the exact same thing with the tissue and make a slight hole in the middle of the glue where there'll be like a little puncture. I really didn't want to wash my hair after doing this because I just washed it, so you'll see a little line before my hairline, which I wouldn't do if I was going to wear this out on actual Halloween. Just blending in foundation again, and then this red lipstick was perfect for this look. This is the Wet n Wild, what is it called? Stoplight Red matte lipstick, and I just use this as the middle red part of both the wounds, and then I'm mixing in some black here as well. Just put whatever was left on my brush around the wound, just kind of dotting it. And the best thing about doing this look is you don't have to be precise at all. Like, the messier it is, the better, because if you were a zombie, you're not going to look perfect, obviously. So here I am putting some black eyeshadow in around the corners of the wound, and it was this one by Wet n Wild, which is super black, so it was perfect for this. I'm just kind of deepening the red here in the wounds. Then I realized that I needed to bring the glue in a bit closer to my mouth, so I'm just doing this on both the top and bottom beside where I've already put that other tissue. And peeling the tissue back like this is going to make it look more like flesh. Time to draw the teeth, which is the hardest part, I think, and I'm just going to use some black eyeshadow here to make the line, and then I actually end up going over it with some white eyeshadow. I used a Wet n Wild one because it's really pigmented. Then I went back in with the red lipstick to draw a faint line of where the teeth would be. The thing to remember with the teeth is that teeth aren't usually perfectly square, and I actually did mine a little bit too square now that I look back on it. But if you go in kind of, you know, not trying to be perfect, it should turn out okay. It's kind of just a vague outline. Another thing to remember is that the teeth are going to be like blood stained, so they don't need to be perfectly white, and then they don't need to be completely outlined in red either. So I'm just kind of trying to stain them and make them look authentic zombie-like. Adding a little bit of black shading in where you've just peeled over that tissue is going to make it look a lot more realistic. So for the most part of this video, or the colours on the face, I used these three eyeshadows, a purple, a dark cranberry and a black, and I kind of mixed them all together most of the time. Here I'm using mostly purple. This is going to give the illusion of bruising around the face and just like the skin is dying, and I also mix this in with the more cranberry shade to give more of a blood look. This is kind of where you can improvise yourself and just decide where you want to put those colours. And I think this part is really fun because you start to look really dead. But I would put this lipstick on the inside of your lips, just the very inside, so it looks like you're like drinking blood. And then also around your eyes, but I'm going to build on the eyes, as you see. Here I was aiming to cover all of the tissue and also go around my nose with the purple colour. Using black as a contour is going to make you look more skeleton-like and like you're dying a little bit, so that's a cool effect. And I'm also going to use this wherever I want to look bruised and just mix it in with those other colours. Next, you really want to hollow out those eye sockets, so I'm going to concentrate a lot of dark colour in the very socket of my eye and then down where you would get those under eye bags. I actually go on to deepen this later on, so you'll see that when I do that, but for now I just left it like this and blended it out with a big fluffy brush. Here I'm adding a bit of purple to my lips, and they were dried out a bit, which actually gave a cool effect, like they were cracked and dried, so I wouldn't put any lip balm on before you do that. Then I'm going to go around my nose, and it makes it look like my nose is kind of bleeding and I'm very run down. Then I went in with this grey shadow and put this on top of my lids. I also used this for my under eye circles as well. Then I went on to just dip this big fluffy brush into those three shades, really, whichever one I felt like using, and just kind of dotted this all over my face wherever I wanted to look bruised. And I would bring this down my neck and up to my hairline if I was going to wear this out. And I just kind of peeled back the tissue on the head wound a bit to make it look more realistic. And here I'm contouring down my nose again to make my skeleton look more defined and like I'm wasting away. Then I went in with this kind of light brown matte shade and just kind of patted this along where the tissue was to blend it in with my skin more and make it look more like rotting ash coloured grey flesh. Then this highlighter from this Wet n Wild concealer palette was the perfect thing to give me that kind of zombie sheen look, that kind of unwell, clammy shine to your skin, if you get me. You'll see now when I put it on. So any kind of cream pearlescent highlighter will do the same thing. I just kind of put this all over my face wherever I felt like doing it. Again, you can see I stopped at a line just before my hairline, but if I was wearing this out, I would in fact blend it into my hairline. I was going to leave it like this, and then I went back in for some last minute touches. So here I have a paintbrush with some watercolor red paint on it, and I just wet it. I dipped it in the water and didn't dry any of it off, and then just flicked it onto my skin so that it looks like little splashes of blood. And then lastly, I went back in with the grey eyeshadow just to deepen those bags underneath my eyes and just blended it out with my finger. And that is the finished zombie makeup look. This is so easy, so inexpensive. As you can see, I use things that almost every girl would have: eyeshadows, lipstick, tissue paper, stuff like that. So let me know if you liked it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did. And leave a comment below and let me know any other videos you'd like me to do. Please subscribe and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!